Sunday, February 10th, a federal judge just ordered U.S. Marshals to actively pursue Ivanka Trump, $47.3 million in questioned transactions, 127 documents and evidence, a 36-month prison sentence she was ordered to surrender for and didn't. Thursday, the court filing dropped. Friday, Marshals were dispatched. Saturday, the entire Trump family went silent. 3 days. That's all it took for this to go from a sentencing compliance issue to a federal fugitive manhunt. But here's the part that no one saw coming, and it might be the most devastating detail in this entire case. Melania Trump, subpoenaed as a character witness, given every opportunity to help her stepdaughter, sat in a federal deposition, looked at prosecutors, and said on the record, "I am not in a position to provide that testimony. That's not interpretation. That's not spin. That's the transcript." And within 48 hours of those words, the judge escalated enforcement, forfeited a $500,000 bond, and authorized Marshals to use necessary means to bring Ivanka into custody. Here's exactly what happened, document by document, page by page, and why this is unlike anything we've ever seen in American legal history. The setup, how we got here. Quick context for anyone catching up. Ivanka Trump, former White House senior advisor, daughter of Donald Trump, married to Jared Kushner. For years, a central figure in the Trump family business empire while simultaneously serving in the highest levels of government. The issue? She was convicted of financial fraud and obstruction of justice stemming from foreign business dealings conducted during her father's administration. Here's the compressed timeline. Months ago, federal investigators subpoenaed financial records tied to a Dubai real estate deal worth $340 million. Weeks later, a grand jury indicted her on 7 counts. Last month, she was found guilty on 5 of those counts. The sentence, 36 months in federal prison, was handed down with a self-surrender order. She was supposed to report to FCI Danbury to begin serving her sentence. She didn't show up. The judge, appointed during the Obama administration, which critics are quick to point out, issued a bench warrant. Then on Thursday, he escalated to U.S. Marshals, and that's when everything accelerated. The documents, what the filings actually say. I've spent hours going through these filings, over 200 pages across multiple documents. Let me walk you through what matters. Document 1, the court filing, Thursday, February 5th, page 23, direct quote from the filing. Defendant Ivanka Marie Trump failed to present herself at FCI Danbury as ordered by this court, constituting willful noncompliance with lawful judicial mandate. That's not my characterization. That's the court's language. She didn't show up when she was supposed to surrender for prison. In legal terms, that's contempt. In practical terms, that's the beginning of a manhunt. But here's what got me. Page 47, different section. The filing references wire transfers totaling $18.2 million, routed through a Wyoming LLC that was registered 3 days before the original indictment. 3 days before. Let that sink in. An LLC formed in January 2025, $18.2 million transferred within 72 hours. The account was flagged by FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, but never frozen. All of this is now documented in the court record. Someone saw this coming, and someone was moving money. The detail nobody is covering. Exhibit F, buried in the appendix, page 89. Communication logs showing 31 text messages between Ivanka Trump and a number traced to a former Secret Service detail member. Former because she lost protection status last year. Those texts were sent the night before the surrender deadline, then deleted. Prosecutors recovered them. One message timestamped 11:47 p.m. Wednesday reads, "Package ready, route confirmed." Prosecutors argue this indicates flight preparation. The defense says it's about moving personal belongings. You can decide what you think that means. But prosecutors clearly believe they know. If this breakdown is useful, hit subscribe. I'm going through every filing as it drops. This story is moving by the hour, and I'll be covering every document update in real time. The Melania deposition, the testimony that changed everything, document 2. The Melania deposition, filed Friday. 67 pages, most of it procedural, but the moments that matter are on pages 34 and 51. Page 34, lines 4 through 11. Question: Mrs. Trump, in your experience with the defendant, would you characterize her as someone who respects the rule of law? Answer: I would characterize her as someone who protects her interests. Follow-up: Is that a yes or no? Answer: That is my answer. Cold, deliberately cold. The relationship between Melania and Ivanka has been documented as strained for years. Books have been written about it. But this is different. This isn't gossip or anonymous sourcing. This is under oath, in a federal proceeding, on the official record. It gets worse. Page 51. The prosecutor asks about a specific dinner in 2024. Melania confirms she was present. At that dinner, according to the transcript, Ivanka allegedly discussed contingency options if legal proceedings went badly. Melania's response when asked what she understood that to mean, "I understood it to mean what it sounded like." That answer is devastating because it implies Ivanka was discussing plans for non-compliance months before the surrender deadline. And then the question that tells you everything about the family dynamic. Question: would you describe your relationship with Ivanka Trump as close? Answer: I would describe it as professional. Professional. Her stepmother of 20 years describes the relationship as professional in a federal deposition where her testimony could determine whether marshals are sent to find her stepdaughter. I'm not reading into that. You can draw your own conclusions. What I can tell you is what the documents show: a family fracturing under legal pressure, with the former First Lady putting maximum distance between herself and her stepdaughter at the exact moment her testimony could have helped. Whether that's personal or strategic, we don't know yet. What we do know, the judge noticed, and he acted. Section 4, the judge's escalation order. The judge cited Melania's testimony directly in Thursday's escalation order. Page 12, the defendant's own family members have provided testimony suggesting pre-planned non-compliance. Based on that, combined with the missed surrender, the recovered text messages, and the wire transfers, the judge authorized the following. Marshals authorized to use necessary means to secure custody. $500,000 bond forfeited, additional charges for flight risk under consideration. All of this within 48 hours of Melania's deposition. The flight indicators. What happened Friday and Saturday? While the world focused on the Marshall order, something else was happening that could change the entire trajectory of this case. Friday morning, Teterboro Airport. Jared Kushner, Ivanka's husband, was spotted at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey. Private jet, he boarded alone. Flight plan filed to Nassau, Bahamas. Now, there's no confirmed evidence Ivanka was on that plane. The tail number was checked. The passenger manifest shows only Kushner. But here's the critical legal detail. The Bahamas has no extradition treaty with the United States for this category of offense. That's not speculation. That's treaty law. Saturday morning, the second plane, a second aircraft, different registration, owned by a Montana LLC with no public officers, departed from the same airport, destination unknown, flight plan sealed. The LLC was registered 2 weeks ago. Single listed officer, an attorney in Boca Raton, Florida. He's not talking. The sequencing watch, the order of events. Friday, Jared leaves for the Bahamas Saturday morning. Second unidentified plane departs. Saturday evening, judge adds inquiry into potential aiding and abetting of fugitive flight to the docket. That last addition specifically names Jared Kushner as a person of interest. This wasn't reactive from the judge. Look at the sequencing. It was calculated, the responses, and what's missing from them. Ivanka's attorneys issued a statement. Ms. Trump remains committed to resolving this matter through proper legal channels. They did not say where she is. Kushner's attorneys responded Sunday morning. Mr. Kushner traveled to the Bahamas for scheduled business meetings. He has committed no crime and resents the implication. Note what's missing: any mention of Ivanka, any denial of knowledge, any statement of cooperation. Secret Service, former protection for Ivanka, refused to comment on her whereabouts. Drop your prediction in the comments. Where do you think Ivanka is right now? Let's see who's right when the next update drops. The other side, being fair, all right. Gotta be fair here. The other side has points. A few of them actually hold up, and ignoring them doesn't help anyone understand what's really happening. The political prosecution argument. Point 1. The judge, Bernard Hayes, donated to Democratic campaigns in 2018 and 2020. And that's public record, $2,700 combined. Critics argue this creates a conflict of interest. Point 2. The case was brought by prosecutors in the Southern District of New York. the same office that has pursued Trump family members repeatedly. A pattern exists. Point 3. Other political figures have faced similar allegations and received deferred prosecution agreements, essentially a slap on the wrist. Why not her? That's not a crazy argument. That's documented history. What legal voices on the right are saying. Former Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who served under Trump, said in an interview last week, "The intensity of pursuit here raises legitimate questions about proportionality." Even Alan Dershowitz, no Trump partisan but a consistent civil liberties voice, admits the evidentiary threshold for the obstruction count was unusually low. Other real estate fraud cases with similar dollar amounts resulted in fines, not prison. The obstruction charge relies on document timing that Ivanka's lawyers call coincidental. 2 jurors have since given interviews suggesting external pressure during deliberations. Both things can be true. From one angle, Ivanka Trump committed federal crimes, was convicted by a jury, and is now evading a lawful sentence. That's serious. That's prison-worthy. From another angle, she's a political target, prosecuted aggressively because of her last name and now being pursued by federal marshals like a drug lord. That's arguably excessive. Both things can be true simultaneously. That's what makes this complicated. But here's where even defenders go. Quiet the Melania piece. Because if this is truly all political persecution, if this is nothing but a witch hunt, why wouldn't Melania just say nice things, take 5 minutes, vouch for her stepdaughter, go home? She didn't. She went in under oath and gave answers that prosecutors immediately used to escalate enforcement. That's not political theater. That's family dynamics playing out in a federal courtroom. Some loyalists say Melania was pressured, that the deposition was a trap. Maybe. But the transcript shows she had multiple opportunities to soften her answers. She chose not to. Even former Attorney General Bill Barr, no liberal obviously, addressed this Friday on Fox News. Whether the prosecution was motivated by politics or not, the conviction is real and the sentence is valid. Fleeing was the worst possible choice. And even defenders aren't defending the flight. The consensus from across the political spectrum. The conviction may be appealable, the sentence may be reducible, but running makes both harder, maybe impossible. The backstory, how the case was built. This didn't come out of nowhere. Understanding the backstory makes everything that's happening now inevitable in hindsight. Years ago, the Trump family business model attracted IRS attention. Multiple audits, nothing stuck. Then federal investigators started looking at foreign deals, specifically projects in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and Indonesia that involved government permits and family profit. Ivanka's role came into focus because she was point person on several of these deals while simultaneously serving as a White House advisor. The conflict of interest wasn't even hidden. Michael Cohen, former Trump fixer turned critic, said in testimony, "The deals never stopped. The White House just became the sales office." The pattern prosecutors built, foreign permits approved after meetings with Trump officials. Trump Organization profits deposited within weeks. Ivanka's signature on contracts dated during her government service. For years, the defense was always the same. She's just a family member, not a decision maker. Plausible deniability. But the Dubai deal broke that defense apart. Emails showed Ivanka directly negotiating terms with Emirati officials while her father was president. One email from 2019 reads, "Dad is aware and supportive. Let's close this." That email became Exhibit A. Until Thursday, she'd never faced real consequences. The conviction changed that. The 36-month sentence was seen as lenient by prosecutors, harsh by defenders, but it was real. And when she didn't show up to surrender, everything changed. Expert analysis. What the professionals are saying. Former federal prosecutor, SDNY, 18 years experience. Flight from a federal sentence isn't just contempt. It's a new felony. She's compounding her legal exposure exponentially. Plain English. Every day she's missing, she's making it worse. Constitutional law professor, Georgetown. The Marshals have broad authority here. This isn't a polite request anymore. This is active pursuit of a federal fugitive. The keyword fugitive. That status changes everything, legally, procedurally, and practically. Jonathan Turley often defends Trump family in media. Even Turley admits The failure to appear was a catastrophic strategic error. Her legal team should have ensured compliance while appealing. When both sides agree on something, pay attention. Criminal defense attorney, 24 years, white-collar experience. The Melania testimony is devastating, not because of what she said, but because of what she didn't say. Character witnesses who hedge become prosecution witnesses. Translation: Melania's cold, measured answers didn't help Ivanka. They helped the case against her. Former FBI assistant director: the second plane is what we'd call an indicator. Marshals will be all over that manifest. If she was on it, they'll know within days. Former U.S. Marshal, 22 years. We don't stop. That's not how this works. She'll be found. The question is whether it's dignified or not. He's not being dramatic. That's the job description. Why this matters to you. This isn't palace drama. This is the legal system testing its own limits in real time, and the consequences extend far beyond one family. Financial impact. If you own stocks, pay attention. Trump Media and Technology Group, the Truth Social parent company, dropped 14% on Friday. If you're in any fund that holds TMTG or related media stocks, you felt this. Uncertainty around a former president's family becoming federal fugitives creates market instability. Investors hate instability. What some are doing, moving positions to less volatile sectors until this resolves. Not advice, just observable trading patterns. Legal precedent. This sets a precedent that affects everyone. The last time marshals were ordered to pursue a member of a presidential family was never. This is entirely new territory. The next time you hear about wealthy defendants and voluntary surrender, the rules just changed. Before this, judges assumed compliance. Self-surrender was standard for white-collar defendants. After this, expect ankle monitors, expect passport seizure, expect marshals at the courthouse. That's not dramatic. That's how precedent works. Federal sources say prosecutors in at least 4 districts have already filed motions to modify surrender terms for high net worth defendants since Thursday. Not because of guilt, because of flight risk math. If Ivanka runs, every defendant pays. The equality question. Here's the uncomfortable part nobody wants to say out loud. The justice system isn't equal. It never was. But if a billionaire's daughter with Secret Service connections can simply disappear, while a regular person would be in handcuffs within hours, that gap becomes impossible to ignore. If you've ever sat on a jury, paid taxes to fund the courts, or believed the system should apply equally to everyone, this is a test of that belief. The Trump family response and how it made things worse. Donald Trump went on Truth Social Saturday morning, 9 posts in 2 hours. From the first post, political persecution, my beautiful daughter is being hunted by corrupt Biden judges. Note, Biden hasn't been president for over a year. From the third post, Melania's words were twisted. The fake news deposition is a scam. What he did not do, he did not deny the LLC transfers. He did not explain the deleted texts. He did not say where Ivanka is Melania's response. Her spokesperson issued a 4-word statement. Mrs. Trump has no comment. That's it. 4 words. While her husband posts 9 times in 2 hours. Eric Trump called into a podcast Saturday afternoon. This is a witch hunt and my sister is strong. She'll be vindicated. He also didn't say where she is. Prosecutors responded cleanly. The defendant's family statements are not a legal defense. We await her surrender. Then Saturday evening, the judge added the aiding and abetting inquiry to the docket, specifically naming Jared Kushner as a person of interest. This isn't cooling down. It's heating up. What to watch? The critical dates ahead. Tuesday, February 10th. Status hearing. Before Judge Hayes. This is the big one. Topic. Status of fugitive recovery and potential aiding charges. If marshals don't have Ivanka by then, the aiding charges against Kushner could become formalized. Thursday, February 12th. Secret Service Director testimony, testifying before the House Oversight Committee. Ivanka's former protection status will come up. Questions about what the Secret Service knew and when will be central. Friday, February 13th, Kushner subpoena, deadline for Kushner to respond to a potential subpoena. Not public yet whether it's been formally issued. What I'm watching. 1. The Tuesday hearing. That's when this either escalates dramatically or begins to settle. 2. Kushner. If he's subpoenaed, the spousal privilege question gets legally complicated. Can he be compelled to testify about his wife's whereabouts? 3. Melania. Prosecutors have indicated they may call her for the aiding inquiry. Her attorney says she'll comply if subpoenaed. Her silence right now is strategic. Question is what that strategy is. 4. Foreign governments. If Ivanka surfaces internationally, this becomes a diplomatic incident. No indication yet, but the silence from every direction is loud. Here's where we are right now. Sunday, February 8th. Ivanka Trump. Location unknown. Federal fugitive status. Donald Trump. Posting on Truth Social. No public appearances scheduled. Melania Trump. Silent since the deposition. No statement issued. Jared Kushner. Returned from the Bahamas. Represented by counsel. Not charged yet. U.S. Marshals. Active pursuit. No public updates on leads. The clock is running. Every hour she's not in custody, the legal consequences compound. Every statement the family makes gets added to the record. Every flight, every transaction, every communication, discoverable. The legal machinery is moving. It doesn't stop. A family that spent decades believing consequences were for other people is learning in real time that might not be true. The documents are clear. The timeline is documented. Whatever happens next, it's on the record. Subscribe for the full picture, not just headlines. When the next filings drop, and they will probably Tuesday, I'll break them down page by page, quote by quote. That's how we do this. Not hot takes, documents, not rumors, filings. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications. Share this with someone who needs to see the complete story. Talk soon.